Hi there, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador based here in Helsinki, Finland. In this video, I'm gonna take a look at how you can get the best straight out camera black and white pictures using your Lumix camera. Straight out of camera JPEGs are not my favorite types of pictures because, especially with color, there are some things that are almost impossible to get right at the time of shooting, at the time of hitting the shutter, and if you are going to do some post-processing anyways, you might as well shoot RAW because the RAW offers so much more possibilities in post. But with black and white it's a little bit different. There is no color balance, color saturation or white balance or those things if you are shooting grayscale or black and white. So I think it offers better possibilities for straight out of camera JPEG shooting, and that's why I wanted to try it. And I'm not saying shooting black and white is easy, but there are some things that you don't have to worry about that you have to worry about if you're shooting color. And any modern camera with an EVF makes shooting black and white relatively easy compared to what it used to be, because now you can see in grayscale when you look through the viewfinder or the rear screen. So you can pretty much, you don't have to imagine how it would look in grayscale because you can see it already and you see what you get. By the way, I put some of these images also on my website, sulanto.fi. My website has been dead for too long and I've decided to update it on a regular basis from now on. Pretty much at the same pace I put out a new video, so please take a look. I think the viewing experience is a bit better on my website than on this video, if you're interested. And please also remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I'll post a new video every Tuesday and every Friday. But how to get the perfect black and white on your Lumix camera? There is a monochrome photo style. But if you're not happy with that, you can customize that. There are several options like contrast, sharpness, etc. But you can also use the highlight shadow control together with those custom settings you have in your monochrome picture style or photo style. And that's exactly what I did, and I made countless of pictures to find out the right settings for me. And it's quite possible that you don't like my settings, but after I explain how I made my settings, maybe you can customize your own settings. But it takes a little bit of trial and error, and you have to make some test shots in order to get what you want. I ended up making two settings. One that's really contrasty and a little bit like dramatic, dark, and another one with a little bit less contrast and a little bit lighter shadow areas. And here are my settings. I started with the regular monochrome photo style. And first I dialed in some contrast to +3. And then I dialed some sharpness down to negative or -3. I left the noise reduction alone as well as the color tone because I wanted black and white. I didn't want any like sepia tone or whatever in my pictures. Then I selected orange filter because I wanted my sky to become a little bit darker, and orange does just that. Red filter would make it even darker, but I didn't want a totally like black looking skies in my pictures. So I selected orange filter. And also I left the grain effect off because I didn't want any fake grain effect in my pictures. And then I went to the highlight shadow control. And I dialed in +2 highlight and negative or -1 shadow. And that seems to work really well. And I saved my settings to custom mode C1. So it's really quick to select my black and white settings if I want to, and then when I return to normal, then I have my regular raw settings there. Then my other setting, and it's similar to the first one except that I chose the yellow filter instead of orange, because the yellow makes the sky a little bit less dark than orange. But then I went back to the highlight shadow settings and I chose the highlight plus minus 0, and then I chose shadows plus 4. So that's quite a bit different from the other one. And that makes the shadows a little bit lighter and also the highlights a little bit less contrasty. Other setting I saved to custom mode C2. So it's also very easy to switch between those two settings and also switch back to my normal settings that I use when I'm normally shooting raw. I will also post these settings on my website so you can take a look if you're interested and maybe take your time and figure out what you want to do. And then one more thing, set the zebra to 95% to get the perfect exposure, because no post-processing is allowed, or we don't want any post-processing. We have to nail the exposure perfectly every time. And the idea is to put the zebra in the picture on that area where you want to see the last detail before it blows out. And that 95% will give you exactly that. You may go a little bit over that 95 and still have some detail, but don't go too much over that, because then you will lose the detail and it becomes just blown out white. And even though I'm using my Lumix G9 here as an example, these settings will work on pretty much every modern Lumix camera. All the pictures I'm showing here and also on my website were shot using my more dramatic black and white settings. I used my Lumix G9 and the Panasonic Leica 25mm f1.4 lens wide open for every shot. I've enjoyed this tremendously. And it's really nice to just upload the pictures on your computer and not to do anything, just choose the best pictures and that's it. And I hope you can find this enjoyable to play with the settings and see what works best for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.